Yeah, wow, it was good timing for me to be here today. We planned it. No, it was really obviously a great start. You always want to start the season with a win. That's always a big focus. Our preseason is really short. What the NCAA allows us is only about 2 weeks, so you never quite know if you're fully ready for that first game. But the team really showed up, and both sides of the ball. It was a great total team performance. We really limited Clemson's opportunities. We obviously made the most of ours, and it was a great way to start, and hopefully something we can build on.
Coach, the speed you guys had on, especially on the counter. I was thinking about that third goal specifically.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, how much does that kind of help you guys, especially the way y'all like to play defense and the way y'all like to play usually?
Yeah, it was a massive part of the game for us. Starting Woodson was a deliberate decision because of her pace in large part, and that really paid off. And having her and Shelby up top, both of them have good pace. So that's a big part of it. And we're a good team in transition. So to your point, being able to win balls and counterattack against opponents and having that speed really helps. And our roster has the depth and the pace as well. As we sub, you bring in Jordan Crosby or Lily Borders, they both got pace as well. So it really helps to keep pressure on opponents. That was a great question, too, by the way. Appreciate it.
Coach, I know it's still a little early on, but how does the win last night instill confidence maybe moving forward when you're looking at that SEC slate?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's really going to build confidence. And you could even see it, there's a lot of uncertainty with our team, going into that game. We weren't great in exhibition, and we made some changes going into that game. And that first goal, it was an own goal. For sure, but Aaron Houston played a great ball in, and had that defender not touched it, we had two players wide open right behind that defender. So really good chance we score, whether they put it in or we put it in. And that first goal against a top 5 team, you could see, our heads kind of go up and the girls, chests come out, and you're like, yeah, all right, we can play with a top 5 team. And so hopefully that result, and obviously not a lucky result, a legit result against a top 5 team will hopefully give us confidence going into the rest of the season and something we can build on.
You lost a defender and one of your veterans on the back line in the spring. Last night, what was the key defensively, just not giving Clemson many opportunities, and how does that look as you move forward for the rest of the season?
Yeah, Andy, it was obviously a really tough blow. Madeline Moore hurt her knee in April in spring play, and she was the anchor in our back line, the captain, the most experienced defender. And it's funny, after the last 2 years, we really didn't score enough goals. You would say offense was more of our issue, and coming into this year, we were more concerned about the defensive side because of that injury and the lack of depth. And we knew we had some good depth up top. So that defense was something we've really been working on and figuring out what's the right rotation and what's the right grouping. And they really showed out last night. LJ Knox has done a great job of taking over the back line, so to speak, from a leadership standpoint with Moore out. And she really is the anchor. Jess Osborne, the sophomore next to her, did a good job. And then moving Mal Mooney back there, we had her in a little higher up position in the spring, but we had to move her back again with the lack of depth, and she was great. And then Aaron Houston stepped up. And then we had some good minutes off the bench in the back as well. Haley Duca and Olivia Candelino. That's a new position for her as well, trying to create some depth. And I thought that group did a really good job. And, they certainly made some mistakes, but we had Maddie Prohaska behind them, luckily for us, to clean up those mistakes. But that's a group now that I think we can build on that performance and learn and get better.
Coach, kind of out of left field maybe, but this time last year, I feel like it was when you talked about there were some talks in the infant stages of maybe something going on with the stadium. I'm just curious if there have been any updates on that or any movement on that front.
Yeah, not yet. It's a big need for us, is the stadium. The old baseball bleachers have, I think, been past their prime. But there has not been talk right now. Obviously, there's some bigger issues that we, as athletic departments across the country, need to deal with the pending lawsuit settlement and things like that. So I think that's got to remain top priority to figure out what that's going to look like budgetarily and then go from there. The good thing is, our AD, John Cohen, knows it's a need, and he's a coach. He knows how important those facilities are. So I think we've got to get through the changes, and nobody actually knows exactly what that's going to look like. And then I think it'll be a top priority after that.
You got offense from a variety of sources last night. Is that how you see this team being a strength of it, as opposed to where you're hyper dependent on maybe one or two people?
Yeah, we won 4-0, and Anna Haddock did not score. That is a great thing for our team, and it's a great point, Jeff. To be successful, we need to be able to have multiple goal scorers, and we had 4 different ones last night if you count Aaron Houston creating the own goal, and that's what we need. And Haddock, I thought, was brilliant. I thought it was one of her best games she's played. Even though she didn't score, she had a good assist on the corner and really was the leader in their force in the midfield and the quarterback, so to speak, getting everybody else the ball. So yeah, for us to be successful, it's going to be a key that we have multiple goal scorers, and clearly we've got the people to be able to do it for us.
Karen, how difficult is it that you mentioned the uncertainty? It's uncertainty at roster, scholarship. How much does that impact you on the recruiting trail, all the things that you have to do to build and continue to build a program?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's really hard. We talk about it all the time as a staff because it's uncertainty. We don't know. And right now we're recruiting 2026s. The way soccer operates, we've got our 2025 class committed in a way that we would hit our certain number for Title IX. Now that's probably going to change. Now we're in good shape for 2025, whatever number they give us. I feel good about it. But it's really hard we've got recruits on campus and we have to make them scholarship offers, and I don't know what our scholarships are going to be. I don't know what our squad size is going to be, so that it's a real challenge. The good thing is we've got a great administration, and I think we've got the right administration for this era of NCAAs. We've got a former national championship baseball coach as our AD, Rich McGlynn, former longtime compliance guy as our number 2, and I've got a lot of faith in those guys, and I know they'll be the right people to navigate us through this uncertainty, and they'll give us the support we need to compete at the highest level. So that's the part where I am kind of rest assured. All the uncertainty and how to navigate recruiting our 2026 class, that's a little bit more challenging.
As a coach, how much of a luxury is it to have a 5th-year goalie? They usually don't have usually
Right.
aren't in that situation as a college coach.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. COVID obviously changed all kinds of things, and it allowed her to be a 5th-year starter. Whenever we have a 4-year starter or even just a returning starting goalkeeper, it gives us a lot of reassurance. But to have a 5th-year starting goalkeeper, really helps with that uncertainty of the back line that we have that Andy asked about. I mean, we still need to be better in the back line. I thought we made too many mistakes last night and relied too heavily on Maddie Prohaska, and obviously she was up to the task, but we can't do that every game. But having her there allowed us to keep the shutout, gives the team confidence, and gives that young back line the confidence they need to keep grinding and keep getting better, knowing they can make a mistake and it's not the end of the world. So the other thing I'd say about Maddie's, credit to her, she spent all summer working on her game. So she was a 4-year starter coming back as the likely 5th-year starter and was not complacent. And she's gotten better. One of the big saves she had last night was a breakaway late to keep the shutout, and that was an area that she's worked on significantly because it was an area that she felt she needed to improve, and so yeah, it gives us a lot of confidence with her back there.
Coach, there's still a lot of the season left. What's the message maybe to the team or maybe to your senior leaders to not only just tell the team to keep pushing forward and also use the momentum off of this win? Yeah,
it's a great question, and we gave them today was planned off. We actually gave them Saturday off as well since we don't have a Sunday game, and so I've been thinking about that message going into Sunday. And what I'm going to tell them is, if you would have asked me before the season started of our first 3 games, the next 2 are way more important, right? You can afford to lose to Clemson. Luckily, we didn't, but you can afford that loss and still get to the NCAAs, accomplish your goals, et cetera. But these next 2 games, for example, are so much more important. And with that senior leadership, they've learned. We beat Arkansas. I don't know what they were ranked, but probably top. What was it? So we beat a top 10 team last year and did not make the NCAA tournament because of other games. And that's really the message. Is our group needs to have learned from that and know how important it is. And I think they will. I mean, they're really in a good place. Our leadership's been tremendous. We returned all 4 captains, and I think they'll be ready for that challenge. But we need to be more up on Thursday night than we were for Clemson.
Coach, if you will, last thing, touch on what's coming up with senior weekend and what it means to you to be able to honor your 13 seniors.
Yeah, so 13 seniors. That's another first in my 34-year career, having that many seniors. We've got 8 COVID seniors, at one of which is actually a 6th year. She redshirted with an injury as well, Becky Contreras. So 8 of those playing their 5th college season, and then I've got 5 what I call normal seniors, 4-year seniors. We'll be back to that fully next year. So we really were trying to figure out how to give them their due and properly honor them. Usually our senior day is at the end of the year, and we introduce them all before the game. And I was like, if we introduce all 13 seniors, we'll have to warm up again because it's too long. So we came up with the idea of doing it this weekend. It's also Parents Weekend. We'll have a bunch of people in town. We've got 2 home games Thursday and Sunday. And we actually kind of let our seniors that were further away pick first, so to speak, from a travel standpoint, make sure their families can be there. And specifically Sammy Brown, she got first dibs on which day to play because her mother is the head women's soccer coach at West Virginia, so obviously has not made many games. And luckily the timing was great because West Virginia's off on Sunday, so her mother gets to be here for her senior day. So we split them up, and we're going to honor half of them on Thursday, and then half of them on Sunday. We'll have all 13 numbers painted. Our grounds crew working overtime, getting all those numbers painted on the field. But it's a really special group, and 6 of them have started last night. Most all of them played. So it's a big weekend for us, and we want to make sure we recognize that group and all they've meant to Auburn soccer.